Asheville, North Carolina, and its beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains have cradled my family ever since our Scottish ancestors first arrived here in the 1800s. My memories are rooted in casseroles, creek beds, extravagant holidays, hiking along the Appalachian Trail. Now, living in Iowa, I long for familiar faces, that magic of the mountains, its crisp fall smell, and the God-given gift of delicious, locally brewed beer. Asheville has more breweries per capita than any other place in America. Sierra Nevada and New Belgium, two of the largest craft brewers in the country, will soon open facilities alongside the 16 other breweries currently housed here. In winter, locals stand around a giant bonfire and drink pints at Pisgah Brewing Company. Its organic delicacies include the Red Devil cherry beer and a hearty stout brewed with several pounds of bacon. The Wedge, my favorite gathering spot in all of Asheville, is located beside train tracks that wind along the French Broad River. The Iron Rail IPA is easily the best beer in town. However, Highland Brewing Company remains Asheville's first and most famous brewery. Its Gaelic ale is named after the Scottish ancestors, perhaps even my own, that populated this place so many years ago. After recently moving to Iowa for graduate school, I felt antsy and displaced in the never-ending expanse of corn, windmills, and family farms. I craved the beer of my homeland as I continued to fertilize this new frontier with unfamiliar experiences. As a result, I persuade my roommates and friends to endeavor on the great journey of home brewing. We buy a cheap kit and the ingredients for Scottish ale from Chester's, a local supply shop that also sells coins and porcelain dogs. We begin our quest as strangers and novices, and I wonder, what sort of treasure awaits our freshly formed fellowship? Will our Scottish ale join others in that shimmering taproom of fame? Would my ancestors have sipped on such beer along the water's edge, or within the walls of their grandiose castle, or while tucked away in the secret corners of the Highlands? The first step in our journey is the most important. All equipment and utensils that will come in contact with any ingredient must be sanitized. Every book, website, and aficionado warns you of this. Sanitize, 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 or risk serious bacterial infection. Next, we prepare the grains, whose lush, erotic names include caramel, chocolate, smoked, and roasted. The grains are then poured into a cheesecloth-like bag and steeped for 20 minutes in a 3-gallon pot of water that is between 150 and 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Wort has been made.
Oh no! I hope that doesn't fuck it up.
I think it'll be alright.
As a germaphobe, incidents like this alarm me, and I worry that the beer is contaminated as we add dry malt extract to the wort. I watch on in fear, praying my roommate's dirty hands don't kill us all. Still, the wort is stirred and stirred and stirred even more as Nick adds liquid malt extract to our alcoholic potion. Next, we add hops. Their alluring aroma is one of earth and musk, and we take turns sniffing bags of these tiny little wonders. We toss in half an ounce of Northern Brewer hops, boil for 40 minutes, add half an ounce of Willamette hops, boil another 5 minutes, and stop. The wort must then be cooled to 70 degrees. We stick our pot in a bathtub full of ice and wait. In the meantime, we are visited by Bueno, the official mascot of our newly formed bungalow brewery. Once the concoction is cool, we siphon the wort into a 5-gallon bucket and add enough water to reach an original gravity level between 1.034 and 1.038. Ours is smack dab in the middle. We then add yeast, officially transforming our soon-to-be beer into a living, breathing creature. The bucket is sealed, and an airlock is attached to allow for the release of carbon dioxide. Nick then picks up the bucket, cradles it like a small child, and winds his way down the narrow stairwell to our basement. Here, the bucket is placed in a safe spot where it will sit for 6 days. That night, however, I have nightmares spurred by the onset of parental anxiety. I have birthed a monster, and the beer explodes from its bucket over and over again, infecting anyone and everyone in sight. In the morning, I rush to my child and see that it remains unharmed. I keep watch patiently and protectively, even as we transfer the beer into a glass carboy and wait 2 more weeks for a second fermentation process to be complete. During this time, the many empty beer bottles we have collected are piled into a large utility sink. We soak them in hot water, salt, and vinegar in order to dissolve the glue and make the labels more easily removable. On bottling day, we move the beer to Nick's apartment and sanitize the bottles in his dishwasher. We boil away the germy bottle caps in scalding water. We swirl together the brewing sugar, and we prepare the empty 6-packs for distribution. Finally, it's time to siphon the beer from the fermenting carboy into the mixed brewing sugar. The beer moves up the siphon and pours into its new semi-permanent home. The beer is dark and rich, like a Willy Wonka waterfall of melting chocolate. We take turns sitting on the kitchen floor. We stick a special tool into the bottle, push against the bottom, and the beer rushes to its final resting place. We operate like a conveyor belt and assign one another different tasks for the sake of efficiency. Of course, this process isn't without its quirks, and we must step over one another to reach our destinations. Next, in our assembly line, the bottles are capped by hand. Finally, the freshly bottled beers are heaped into a loving pile of home-brewed goodness. And I'm gonna, look over.
Oh my god, that is awesome!
Hug it.
There you go! Alright, smile for the camera. Nice.
If all goes well, our beer should be a knockout. After all, Scotland has brewed beer for 5,000 years, and its famous ales reflect the self-confidence and pastoral ruggedness of its people and geography. Traditionally, Scottish ale was developed in the capital of Edinburgh in the 18th century, and within 100 years, Edinburgh had 40 breweries and was widely considered to be the most eclectic brewing center in all the world. After 3 long weeks of anticipation and anxiety, we gather in celebration as the Bungalow Brewery Scottish Ale joins a gallery of homemade dishes: sausage quiche, tomato salad, mushroom tart, and blueberry crisp. We carve pumpkins and share stories and eagerly await the christening of our little baby brew. My roommate Michelle pours the first beer into a mason jar. The deep copper color glistens in the dim light. The aroma is thick, rich, velvety, and luxurious. The bubbly white head is near perfect. Our guests drink, smile, and laugh as their first mouthful of beer displays a malty sweetness accompanied by slight hints of toffee, caramel, and smoky hops. These are clearly happy customers. Amongst the wreckage of empty bottles and pumpkin goo, my fear of bacterial contamination is replaced with a sense of pride and contentment. I have nurtured a paternal, symbiotic relationship with my beer, but more importantly, I have built a community. Though I will always long for Asheville, I am happy here in Iowa. So no matter where I drink a pint of Scottish ale, this beer will always taste like history, family, and home.